My friends, I must begin with a truth so startling that it will disturb your very foundations. At this precise moment, as you listen to these words, you are either creating vast wealth or perpetuating devastating poverty. There exists no middle ground, no neutral territory in the realm of consciousness. Every single thought cascading through your mind, every emotion pulsing through your being, every belief you harbor about abundance, all of these are either constructing a fortune beyond your wildest dreams or cementing the chains of financial bondage. And here's what will astound you. 99% of humanity is unconsciously choosing destitution while believing they desire prosperity. They are their own worst enemy, and they don't even know it. The world has deceived you, my friend. It has taught you to bow before the altar of money, to chase it like a beggar chases scraps, to sacrifice your very soul upon the altar of materialism. But this worship of money is precisely what keeps it from you. The moment you chase anything, you declare yourself separate from it. The instant you long for wealth, you affirm your identity as one who lacks it. Listen with your entire being. You do not magnetize what you desire. You magnetize what you embody. You become a living magnet for experiences that match your dominant state of consciousness. If you are conscious of being someone who struggles financially, someone who must work themselves to exhaustion for every dollar, someone who lives in fear of not having enough, then that is precisely the reality you will continue to manifest. But what if I revealed to you the most closely guarded secret of every millionaire who has ever lived? What if I told you that their thoughts about money are diametrically opposed to everything you've been conditioned to believe? The prosperous individual does not think, "I wish I were wealthy." Never. The prosperous individual thinks, "I am wealthy." He doesn't hope for abundance. He assumes it as naturally as he assumes his own existence. He doesn't labor toward wealth. He labors from wealth. He doesn't see himself as becoming rich. He sees himself as expressing the richness that is already his divine nature. This is not mere positive thinking, my friend. This is not wishful fantasy or empty dreaming. This is the fundamental law governing all of existence. You become what you assume yourself to be, and you remain what you assume yourself to be. In the sacred texts, we find this profound truth. To him who has more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. Many read this and see injustice, but I tell you it is the most precise description of the law of consciousness ever written. Those who possess the consciousness of wealth inevitably receive more wealth. Those who possess the consciousness of lack inevitably receive more lack. The wealthy become wealthier, not because they possess paper money, but because they possess the mental equivalent of wealth. They think from abundance, feel from security, and act from the unshakable knowledge of their own prosperity. Look around you at this very moment. Observe your bank account, your dwelling, your possessions, your entire financial situation. Everything you see is the faithful, exact reproduction of your habitual mental states. Your outer world is your inner world made visible. Your circumstances are not happening to you. They are happening through you. If you are displeased with what you observe, resist the temptation to blame external forces. The economy is not your problem. Your background is not your problem. Your education is not your problem. Your current job is not your problem. They are merely the effects of your consciousness, and effects can never change their cause. The question that will transform your life is not how can I acquire more money. The question is how can I become the type of person who naturally possesses wealth. Allow me to paint for you a detailed portrait of how a truly wealthy person thinks and feels throughout their day. When they awaken each morning, they don't anxiously check their bank balance. They know it's there, growing, multiplying. When they encounter something they desire, they don't calculate whether they can afford it. They simply decide whether they want it. When they meet others, they don't feel compelled to prove their worth through displays of wealth. They carry themselves with the quiet, unshakable confidence of someone who knows their value. When they give from overflow, not from sacrifice. When they invest from abundance, not from desperation. This is not arrogance, my friend. This is assumption. And assumption, though it may appear false to the senses, when persisted in with unwavering faith, will crystallize into undeniable fact. But here lies the secret that escapes most seekers. It is not sufficient to merely declare I am wealthy. You must cultivate the inner sensation, the feeling, the emotional reality of having infinite abundance. You must generate the actual experience of financial security so consistently that it becomes your natural state of being. Close your eyes for a moment. How would it feel to never worry about money again? How would it feel to know that you could purchase anything your heart desires? How would it feel to be so financially abundant that your greatest joy comes from blessing others? That feeling, that inner experience, that is your true treasure. It is more valuable than any external possession, because it is the source from which all external possessions flow. When you begin to consciously assume the state of wealth, the world will test your resolve. Your senses will present you with the same bank statements. Your bills will continue to arrive. People will treat you as they always have. Your circumstances may even seem to worsen temporarily. This is the crucial test. Will you remain faithful to your assumption of wealth, or will you allow the testimony of your senses to convince you that the law doesn't work? Remember, the seed planted in the ground appears to die before it springs forth as new life. Your assumption of wealth is that seed. Trust its invisible growth, even when you cannot yet see its fruit. Tonight, before you surrender to sleep, I want you to construct a scene in your imagination that implies your wealth is already a reality. Perhaps you see yourself signing a check for $1 million to your favorite charity. Perhaps you imagine walking through the rooms of your dream home, running your hands along the furniture you've lovingly selected. Perhaps you visualize the look of joy on your loved ones' faces as you surprise them with generous gifts. Make this scene vivid in every detail. Engage all your senses. Feel the pen in your hand as you sign that check. Smell the fragrance of flowers in your dream home. Hear the laughter of those you've blessed with your generosity. And as you fall asleep in that scene, you are impressing upon your subconscious mind the reality of your wealth. But don't confine this practice to your sleep time. Carry the feeling of wealth into every moment of your waking hours. When you pay bills, pay them with the attitude of someone who has unlimited resources. When you see expensive items, don't think I can't afford that. Think I choose not to purchase that at this moment. When you walk with the bearing of someone who owns vast wealth. When you speak with the confidence of someone who has never known financial insecurity. When you give with the generosity of someone who has so much that sharing is pure joy. You are not pretending to be wealthy. You are being wealthy in consciousness. And consciousness is the only reality that matters. What I'm sharing with you is not mystical nonsense. It is the most practical science ever discovered. Every great fortune in history began as an imagined reality in someone's mind. Every business empire was first constructed in the imagination of its founder. Every financial breakthrough was first experienced in consciousness before it appeared in the world. The Wright brothers soared through the skies in their imagination long before they ever left the ground. Thomas Edison illuminated the world in his mind before the first light bulb was invented. Henry Ford saw millions of automobiles on the roads before the first Model T was manufactured. They succeeded because they lived mentally in the reality of their fulfilled desires. They thought from their success, not toward it. What is your wealth story? Not your current circumstances, but your intended reality. In your ideal life, what is your net worth? How do you spend your days? What does your lifestyle look like? How do you feel when you contemplate your financial situation? Create this story with such vivid detail that it becomes more real to you than your present conditions. Describe your daily routine as a wealthy person. Visualize your homes, your investments, your philanthropic activities. Feel the emotions of someone who has achieved financial mastery. This is not fantasy, my friend. This is creation. You are literally architecting your future with the power of your imagination. Some of you are thinking, but I've tried visualization before. I've tried affirmations. Nothing changed. Let me ask you this. Did you persist? Did you maintain the feeling of wealth for weeks, months, even years if necessary? Or did you experiment for a few days and then revert to your old patterns of lack consciousness. The law of consciousness is exact and impartial. It will manifest precisely what you are, not what you wish to be. If you are someone who tries techniques but secretly doubts their effectiveness, you will receive evidence of their failure. But if you are someone who knows the law and applies it with unwavering faith, you will witness its miraculous power. As you persist in assuming wealth, you will notice subtle but profound changes in your inner world. You will stop frantically seeking wealth outside yourself, because you will feel it within yourself. You will stop envying the prosperity of others, because you will know your own infinite worth. You will stop fearing financial loss, because you will live from the consciousness of abundance. And then, as naturally as flowers bloom in spring, opportunities will begin to appear. The right people will come into your life. Doors will open that you never knew existed. Money will flow to you through channels you never imagined, not because you forced it, but because you became a magnet for it. But I must warn you of the traps that have destroyed many sincere seekers. First, do not look for immediate evidence of your wealth. The law operates according to its own perfect timing, not your impatience. Second, do not share your assumption with skeptics or those who live from lack consciousness. Sacred things must be kept sacred. Third, do not try to figure out how your wealth will manifest. Your job is to assume it is manifesting, not to engineer the process. The law knows exactly how to fulfill your assumption. Trust it completely. When you truly embody wealth consciousness, your entire relationship with money undergoes a radical transformation. You stop seeing money as scarce and start recognizing it as infinitely abundant. You stop hoarding money and start circulating it freely. You stop fearing its loss and start expecting its multiplication. The wealthy understand that money is simply crystallized consciousness, and consciousness is infinite. They know that losing money is impossible when you possess the consciousness that created it in the first place. Here's a beautiful paradox that only the truly wealthy understand. When you genuinely embody wealth consciousness, you realize that the feeling of abundance is infinitely more valuable than any material possession. You could lose every dollar and still be wealthy because wealth has become your state of being, not your bank balance. This is true security. This is lasting prosperity. This is the secret of secrets. Make this practice your daily sacrament. Each morning before your feet touch the floor, spend 10 minutes immersed in the feeling of wealth. Feel the security that comes from knowing you have more than enough. Feel the freedom that comes from unlimited resources. Feel the joy that comes from being able to bless others generously. Each evening, before sleep takes you, return to your scene of wealth fulfilled. Live in it completely. Make it so real that it becomes your preferred reality. Let sleep seal it into your subconscious mind, where it will work continuously to manifest your assumption. Just as money compounds in investment accounts, your wealth consciousness compounds in your mind. Each day you practice, each moment you maintain the feeling of prosperity. You are building unstoppable momentum. The wealthy person you are becoming grows stronger, while the poverty-conscious person you once were fades into irrelevance. Time becomes your ally when you use it to consistently assume wealth. When doubt arises, and it will arise, don't battle it. Simply return to your assumption of wealth. Doubt is merely old programming attempting to reassert itself. You are installing new software in your consciousness, and sometimes the old system resists the upgrade. Be gentle with yourself, but absolutely persistent in your practice. Every time you choose the assumption of wealth over the appearance of lack, you strengthen your new identity. You will know this teaching is working when you stop looking for evidence that it's working. You will know you've achieved true wealth consciousness when thinking about money brings you peace instead of anxiety, excitement instead of fear, gratitude instead of desperation. Your bank account will be the last thing to change, but it will change. The inner transformation always precedes the outer manifestation. From this moment forward, see yourself as a wealthy person having a temporary experience of financial limitation, not as a poor person hoping to become wealthy. This shift in identity changes everything. You are not becoming wealthy. You are wealthy, and you're simply allowing that truth to express itself in your physical world. Walk like wealth. Talk like wealth. Think like wealth. Feel like wealth. And wealth must manifest because you have become its perfect expression. Here's how you'll know you've truly embodied wealth consciousness. You'll become naturally generous. Not because you're trying to manipulate the universe into giving you more, but because abundance has become your nature. When you know you have unlimited supply, giving becomes pure joy rather than sacrifice. Watch for this sign. When you find yourself wanting to give more, you'll know your consciousness is shifting. The truly wealthy live in what I call the Sabbath of consciousness, a place of rest and knowing. They don't strive and struggle for money. They don't work from desperation. They assume abundance and allow it to flow. They work from inspiration, not perspiration. This is the peace that surpasses all understanding. This is the rest that comes from knowing your security is guaranteed by the law of consciousness itself. You were never meant to experience poverty. Financial struggle is not your destiny. Lack is not spiritual. You are the operant power in your world, and it is your divine right to experience abundance in all its magnificent forms. The only thing standing between you and millions of dollars is your assumption about yourself. Change your assumption, and you literally change your world. Right now, in this precious moment, you stand at the crossroads of destiny. You can continue thinking as you've always thought and continue getting what you've always gotten. Or you can make the decision that will change everything. The decision to assume you are already wealthy and to persist in that assumption until it becomes your living reality. This is your million-dollar decision. This is your moment of power. This is your opportunity to step into the wealthy version of yourself that has always existed in potential. Let me share with you the most powerful technique I know for embodying wealth consciousness. Before you sleep tonight, imagine you are lying in bed in your dream home. Feel the luxury of your surroundings. Perhaps you're in a master bedroom with a view of the ocean, or in a penthouse overlooking the city lights. As you lie there, reflect on your day as a wealthy person. Perhaps you signed a major business deal, or made a generous donation to charity, or surprised a loved one with an expensive gift. Feel the satisfaction of living from abundance. Feel the joy of having unlimited resources. Make this so real that you fall asleep as a wealthy person. Your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between imagined and actual experiences. To your subconscious, you are wealthy, and it will work tirelessly to make that assumption your reality. Everything in the universe vibrates at a specific frequency, including states of consciousness. Poverty has its frequency, and wealth has its frequency. When you consistently assume wealth, you tune yourself to the frequency of abundance. You become a living radio station broadcasting prosperity. And the universe, which is nothing but consciousness responding to consciousness, must tune into your frequency and reflect it back to you as your experience. Transform your mornings with this wealth-building routine. Upon waking, before you check your phone or think about your problems, spend the first 10 minutes of your day in the consciousness of wealth. Feel grateful for your abundant resources. Imagine checking your investment accounts and seeing impressive returns. Visualize your day unfolding with ease and prosperity. Set the tone for your entire day by beginning it as a wealthy person. Your morning consciousness determines your daily experience. Many of you have been under what I call the poverty spell, a hypnotic trance induced by society, family, and your own repetitive thoughts of lack. This spell makes you believe that struggle is noble, that suffering is necessary, that wealth is for other people, but not for you. I am here to break that spell. You are not condemned to financial struggle. You are not destined for mediocrity. You are not limited by your current circumstances. You are the author of your financial story, and you can rewrite it starting now. Adopt the perspective of someone who has already achieved great wealth. How does such a person view challenges? As opportunities. How do they view setbacks? As temporary inconveniences. How do they view other people? As potential partners and allies, not competitors. When you think like a wealthy person, you act like a wealthy person. When you act like a wealthy person, you become a wealthy person. It's that simple and that profound. The best investment you can make is not in stocks, bonds, or real estate. The best investment you can make is in your own consciousness. Every moment you spend assuming wealth is a deposit in the bank of your future prosperity. Every time you choose abundance over lack, you're compounding your wealth consciousness. This investment pays dividends that no external investment can match. Tonight, I want you to engage in the most powerful wealth visualization of your life. Imagine you're walking into a bank to make a deposit. But this isn't just any deposit. You're depositing a check for $10 million. Feel the weight of the check in your hand. See the numbers written clearly. Experience the bank teller's amazement and respect. As you hand over the check, feel the satisfaction of someone who has achieved extraordinary financial success. Feel the security of knowing that this is just one of many large deposits you'll make. Walk out of that bank with the confidence of a multi-millionaire. This isn't daydreaming. This is rehearsing for your future reality. Forget generic affirmations like "I am rich." Instead, craft specific, feeling-based affirmations that resonate with your soul. I am so grateful for my financial abundance that I can barely contain my joy. Money flows to me easily and abundantly from multiple sources. I am a magnet for wealth and prosperity in all its forms. Say these affirmations with conviction, with feeling, with the certainty of someone who knows they're already true. Notice how your mindset shifts as you embody wealth consciousness. You stop asking, "Can I afford it?" and start asking, "Do I want it?" You stop thinking about money as something you need and start thinking about it as something you have. You stop seeing wealthy people as different from you and start recognizing them as your peers. These subtle shifts in thinking create massive shifts in your external reality. True wealth consciousness creates what I call abundance overflow. When you truly feel wealthy, you naturally want to share your abundance with others. You tip generously. You donate to causes you believe in. You surprise loved ones with gifts. You invest in experiences that create joy. This overflow is not about trying to get more money through giving. It's the natural expression of someone who knows they have more than enough. Practice this wealth meditation daily. Sit comfortably and imagine golden light surrounding your body. This light represents infinite abundance. Feel it penetrating every cell, every atom of your being. You are literally made of abundance. You are abundance in human form. As you breathe in, you're breathing in prosperity. As you breathe out, you're exhaling any beliefs about lack or limitation. You are becoming a perfect conduit for wealth to flow through you and to you. Interestingly, wealthy people have different problems than poor people. Instead of wondering how to pay bills, they wonder which investment opportunities to pursue. Instead of worrying about having enough money, they worry about having too much sitting idle. Instead of seeking financial security, they seek ways to create more value in the world. Start having wealthy people's problems. Start worrying about having too much money rather than too little. This shift in the nature of your concerns signals a shift in your consciousness. People often ask me, "How long will it take for my wealth to manifest?" The answer is, it manifests the moment you assume it. The delay you experience is not in the manifestation, but in your acceptance of it as real. The moment you truly feel wealthy, you are wealthy. The external world then rearranges itself to match your inner conviction. Stop asking when it will happen. It's happening now. You're wealthy now. Accept it now. When you embody true wealth consciousness, you don't just change your own life. You change the lives of everyone around you. Your children learn that abundance is natural. Your spouse experiences the security of living with someone who knows their worth. Your friends are inspired by your transformation. You become a beacon of possibility, showing others what's achievable when you align with the law of consciousness. Now that you understand how to become wealthy in imagination, how to live in the end, and assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, I must share with you the most crucial element that will accelerate your manifestation beyond anything you've ever experienced. You see, my friends, imagination without gratitude is like a seed without water. It contains all the potential for growth, but it lacks the nourishing element that brings it to full bloom in your physical experience. Many of my students come to me and say, "Neville, I've been imagining my wealth. I've been living in the end, but nothing seems to be happening." And when I examine their practice, I discover they're missing the sacred ingredient that transforms imagination from mere fantasy into living reality. That ingredient is gratitude. Not gratitude as an afterthought, not gratitude as a polite thank you to the universe, but gratitude as the very breath of creation itself. Here's what will shake you to your core. The moment you truly feel grateful for the wealth you've been imagining, you bridge the gap between the invisible and the visible, between the imagined and the manifest. Gratitude is not the result of wealth. Gratitude is the cause of wealth. Let me tell you about a man who came to me in 1965, completely broke, living in a single room with his wife and 2 children. He had $17 to his name and rent due in 3 days. He had been practicing the techniques I taught about imagination, but his results were slow and inconsistent. Then I introduced him to what I'm about to share with you now, the sacred art of gratitude as the accelerator of manifestation. Within 6 months, he owned 3 properties and had established a thriving business. By year's end, he was worth more than he had ever imagined possible. What changed? He learned to feel grateful for his imagined wealth as if it were already his reality. And consciousness is the only reality. Now, before we dive deep into the practical application, you must understand something fundamental about the nature of gratitude. Gratitude is not merely an emotion. It is a creative force. It is the very breath of God within you, acknowledging what already exists in the invisible realm of infinite possibilities. When you feel grateful for something, you are not hoping for it. You are not wishing for it. You are recognizing its reality. And recognition is the first step in manifestation. The Bible tells us, "Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear." This means that your desire already exists in the realm of fulfillment. Your job is not to create wealth. Your job is to recognize wealth that already is. Here's something that I need you to understand. Money is not a thing. Money is a symbol. It is a symbol of your consciousness of abundance. When you understand this, you realize that you don't need to chase money. You need to embody the consciousness from which money flows naturally. Think of it this way. A tree doesn't struggle to produce fruit. The fruit is the natural expression of the tree's nature. Similarly, wealth is the natural expression of a consciousness that recognizes its inherent abundance. And how do you develop this consciousness? Through the sacred practice of gratitude. Not gratitude as a technique, but gratitude as a way of being. But here's where most people stumble. They try to feel grateful for money while simultaneously worrying about bills. They try to imagine wealth while their inner dialogue screams of lack. This is like trying to plant a garden while simultaneously pouring salt on the soil. The transformation begins when you understand that gratitude is not about the external world. It's about your internal world. It's about recognizing that within you lies the infinite source from which all wealth springs. Now let me give you the practical steps to implement this sacred art in your daily life. Every morning, before your feet touch the floor, before the world intrudes upon your consciousness, spend 5 minutes in what I call gratitude awakening. Close your eyes and feel, don't think, feel grateful for the money that is flowing to you. Not money that might come, not money you hope will come, but money that is coming. Feel the relief, the joy, the security of knowing that your financial needs are met. Say to yourself, I am so grateful for the abundant flow of money in my life. I am so grateful for the multiple streams of income that sustain and enrich me. I am so grateful for the financial security that allows me to live with dignity and contribute to others. Feel these words. Let them penetrate your being until they become more real than the circumstances you see with your physical eyes. Remember, assumption is the mother of all miracles. When you assume something is true and persist in that assumption, the entire universe conspires to make it so. Your assumption of gratitude for wealth not yet seen is the invisible foundation upon which your visible wealth will be built. I've seen this principle work thousands of times. A woman assumes she is financially secure and feels grateful for that security. Within weeks, opportunities begin to appear. An unexpected inheritance, a promotion, a business opportunity. The forms are endless, but the principle is always the same. At midday, when the sun is at its highest and your energy is strong, practice what I call wealth recognition. Look around you and recognize wealth everywhere. The building you're in, Someone's wealth created it. The car you drive, wealth made it possible. The food you eat, wealth brought it to your table. But go deeper. Recognize that the same creative force that produced all this wealth is operating in you right now. Feel grateful not just for what you can see, but for the invisible wealth that is even now taking form in your experience. The evening practice is perhaps the most powerful of all. As you prepare for sleep, when your conscious mind begins to quiet and your subconscious mind becomes more receptive, this is when you plant the deepest seeds of wealth consciousness. Lie in your bed and enter into what I call gratitude communion. Review your day, not as it was, but as it could have been if you were already wealthy. Imagine paying bills with joy instead of stress. Imagine making purchases without hesitation. Imagine the feeling of security that comes from knowing you have more than enough. But here's the crucial point. Don't imagine these things as future events. Experience them as present realities. Feel grateful for them as if they have already happened. Now I must warn you, when you begin this practice, you will encounter resistance. Your rational mind will protest. It will say, "This is foolish. How can I be grateful for money I don't have?" When this happens, remember this. Your rational mind is not your creative mind. Your rational mind can only rearrange existing conditions. Your creative mind, your imagination can create entirely new conditions. The resistance you feel is simply the old patterns of consciousness defending themselves. Push through, persist. The breakthrough always comes to those who persist in your experience. Once a week, conduct what I call a wealth ceremony. Choose a day when you won't be interrupted. Sit quietly and imagine yourself 1 year from now living in complete financial abundance. See yourself writing checks without concern for your bank balance. See yourself helping others financially. See yourself living in the home you desire, driving the car you want, taking the vacations you dream of. But don't just see these things. Feel grateful for them. Let your heart overflow with thanksgiving for the abundance that is yours. Here's a powerful technique that has produced remarkable results for many of my students. Write gratitude letters to the universe, to God, to your higher self, whatever feels right to you. Write as if you are already wealthy, expressing gratitude for your abundance. Dear universe, I am so grateful for the $50,000 that came to me this month. I am so grateful for the business opportunity that doubled my income. I am so grateful for the investment that paid such wonderful returns. Write these letters with the same feeling you would have if you were actually wealthy. Then either burn them as an offering to the infinite, or keep them as reminders of your assumption. But now I want to share with you the deeper mystery. Gratitude is not just a technique for attracting wealth. Gratitude is the recognition of your true nature. You are not a physical being trying to become spiritual. You are a spiritual being, temporarily housed in a physical form. As a spiritual being, you are connected to the infinite source of all good. Wealth is not something you acquire. It's something you recognize as your natural inheritance. When you feel grateful for wealth, you are not asking for something outside yourself. You are acknowledging what already exists within yourself. You are awakening to your true identity as a child of the infinite, heir to all that is. This is why the practice of gratitude is so transformative. It doesn't just change your external circumstances. It changes your consciousness. And a change in consciousness is a change in reality. When your consciousness is saturated with gratitude for abundance, you begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You begin to attract people who can help you. You begin to make decisions from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. Now, some of you might be thinking, Neville, this sounds too simple, too good to be true, but let me share with you the scientific foundation for what I'm teaching. Your brain cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you feel grateful for wealth with sufficient intensity and repetition, your brain begins to create new neural pathways. These pathways influence your behavior, your decisions, your very perception of reality. Moreover, gratitude literally changes your brain chemistry. It increases dopamine and serotonin, the neurotransmitters associated with happiness and well-being. When you feel good, you make better decisions. When you make better decisions, you create better results. Let me share another story with you. A woman came to me who was deeply in debt, working 3 jobs just to survive. I taught her the gratitude practices I'm sharing with you tonight. She began each day feeling grateful for financial freedom, even though her circumstances showed the opposite. After 3 months of consistent practice, she met a man at a coffee shop who offered her a position in his company. The salary was 3 times what she was making at her 3 jobs combined. Was this coincidence? I think not. Consciousness creates circumstances, and a consciousness filled with gratitude for abundance will inevitably attract abundant circumstances. Once a month, dedicate an entire day to what I call wealth gratitude intensive. From morning until night, maintain a continuous state of gratitude for your wealth. Speak as a wealthy person would speak. Walk as a wealthy person would walk. Make decisions as a wealthy person would make decisions. This intensive practice accelerates your transformation by saturating your consciousness with the feeling of wealth. Remember, feeling is the secret. Not positive thinking, not affirmations, but feeling. Here's an advanced practice for those who are serious about transformation. Once a week, undertake a gratitude fast. For 1 day, refuse to acknowledge any lack or limitation. Every time your mind turns to what you don't have, immediately shift to gratitude for what you do have. This practice trains your mind to default to abundance rather than scarcity. It's like reprogramming your mental computer to run on an abundance operating system instead of a scarcity operating system. But here's the deeper teaching that most people miss. The wealth you're seeking is not in your bank account. It's in your consciousness. When you truly understand this, you realize that you don't need to wait for money to feel wealthy. You can feel wealthy right now, regardless of your circumstances. And when you feel wealthy, really feel it, not just think it. You become a magnet for wealth. You start to vibrate at the frequency of abundance, and the universe responds to your vibration. Modern quantum physics has confirmed what I've been teaching for decades. Consciousness is the fundamental reality. Matter is simply consciousness expressing itself in physical form. When you change your consciousness, you change your reality. Your gratitude for wealth that doesn't yet exist in physical form is not wishful thinking. It's quantum mechanics in action. You are collapsing the wave function of infinite possibilities into the specific reality of your abundant life. As you continue these practices, you'll notice something remarkable happening. You'll begin to feel wealthy even when your bank account doesn't reflect it. You'll make decisions from abundance rather than scarcity. You'll carry yourself differently. You'll speak differently. You'll think differently. And here's the beautiful paradox. The moment you no longer need wealth to feel wealthy, wealth begins to flow to you effortlessly, because you've aligned your consciousness with the consciousness of abundance. My friends, I want you to begin tonight. Before you sleep, spend 10 minutes feeling grateful for the wealth that is even now flowing into your life. Don't wait for proof. Don't wait for evidence. Begin with faith, and let your faith be rewarded with experience. Remember, the universe is not only queerer than we suppose, it is queerer than we can suppose. The principles I've shared with you tonight are not just theories. They are practical, proven methods for transforming your financial reality. Your wealth is not coming to you. It is flowing through you. You are not separate from abundance. You are abundance in human form. Your gratitude is not hope for the future. It is recognition of the present. Start tonight. Start now. Your wealthy life is waiting for your recognition. And when you truly recognize it, when you truly feel grateful for it, it will have no choice but to manifest in your experience. The kingdom of heaven, which is the kingdom of abundance, is within you. Claim it with gratitude, and watch as your outer world transforms to match your inner recognition. This is the promise. This is the truth. This is the way. Go forth and prosper, knowing that your prosperity is not just for you, but for all those whose lives you will touch with your abundance. Thank you, and may your gratitude be the bridge between your current reality and your wealthy destiny.